God.
Hey, it's Tia Carrere, and you're listening to Kino Kingdom with Britt
and Lazlo
and Rupert. Party on, guys.
Hello all, and welcome to Kino Kingdom 107, not 106, as my notes have been saying for the last 3 weeks. And also the fact that if you listen to us on streaming services, which you will, because you're listening to this and we only get hosted on streaming services, you'll notice that the last episode was called Action Men, not Kino Kingdom 106 Action Men, for which I apologize. So
made me sick.
Apparently, only one of us does the admin. That's weird. So it all falls on me. Yeah.
We lost 50% of our listeners, but luckily that was only 2 people.
Yeah, my mum said her electricity went off, so because she hadn't paid the old. Well, come on. My superhero name when I was a superhero and I had lightning powers, Electricity Bill.
Oh.
It's Electricity William.
Yeah, what are we going to call your son, Mr. William? Oh, we're thinking electricity because he's got superpowers. And then when he's older and he fights crime, he can call himself Electricity Bill. And it's like a double. Oh, you've gone. Bye, so, yes, but we're back and this will actually be titled correctly. I might have to start a comic called Electricity Bill now. Not based on a superhero.
There must be one. Is it? Or maybe Americans don't call it an electricity bill. If they did, it would already exist.
Superhero.
Clunk, clunk, clunk. Tap, tap, tap.
Mechanical keyboard. No, the closest you've got is Beta Ray Bill. But there's no superhero called Electricity Bill.
There you go.
Oh, come on. It writes itself.
It's not so much a niche in the market as a chasm.
I know.
Filled.
Tis I, Electricity Bill. Obviously, can't go out when it's raining. Or like the risk of bad weather because it'll affect his powers, so he can only function in like the summer and the autumn.
And everyone sort of groans and rolls their eyes when they witness him.
Yeah, and he's got powers of electricity, but they hurt him because he's like, I'll stop that purse snatcher, and he's like, I can't. He's gone. Ah, shit. Yeah, that would be. I reckon that would probably get tiresome after a couple of issues.
For a couple of seasons.
Yeah, 10 seasons. Might want to bring in another member of the cast now. We're already talking about cinema adaptations. This is good stuff. It's powerful. So yes, I might actually call this episode Electricity Bill now. In fact, I'm typing it, so it's happening. It's the bad news for this episode. Is that Graham Greene has passed away. Yes. And he was sort of someone who in the 90s and 2000s was in a lot of like very big, serious films and was always a pleasure to see on the screen. He also had I don't know if it's a throwaway line. Do you know what I'm going to say about my favorite line of his in Die Hard with a Vengeance? It almost feels like an ad-lib because he says the line and as he's talking, it cuts to a different scene. And I wonder if he did it as an ad-lib, but they kept it in because it was just so well delivered. I won't do it justice here. But it's when they're in the police station and he's sort of, after being taken back from Harlem and they're all gathered around. And as I think he's asking for like painkillers or something, John McClane. And then he says, why does this Simon character, like, why is he so interested in me? And one of the other cops says, maybe he wants to send you flowers. And then Graham Greene says, everyone knows your favorite flowers are pansies. And it's such a brilliant ad lib. Everybody knows you like pansies. And it cuts as he's talking. And I thought, that's my favorite line in the whole film. It's such a cheap, childish line thrown in. Brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah, he's he had gravitas, that man. Because he was in Dance with Wolves quite famously. But that was probably his big early role, I guess.
It does appear to be so. Yeah, I was just doing a little bit of research before we jumped on.
I feel like I've seen him in lots of things as like playing cops and stuff.
Yeah, he was prolific. But I think he's what the Americans call a character actor.
You love that term, don't you?
Mm.
And anything
even
involving
100%
Native
sure what it means.
Americans, they tend to drop him in.
Yeah. Good actor.
He was
Will
in
be missed.
1992. He was in 2 films with the word thunder in the title. It was Thunderheart and then Rain Without Thunder, which is ideal. Yeah, Die Hard with a
Was it a
Vengeance.
sequel?
Shattered Image, which oh yes, that's a really
Maverick, of course.
bad film I've seen. Yeah, Maverick. Snow
I
Dogs.
think the last film I saw him was maybe Wind River.
Yeah.
Yes, because I remember him coming on screen and thinking, oh, good. But he didn't say the pansies line again, possibly because it wouldn't have fit.
It probably wouldn't have fit with the tone of that particular movie.
Yeah. When he's finding those people off eating at the end, he's like, oh, they probably like pansies. And looks around with his tongue in his cheek. And you just hear the director go, cut. They keep it in the film. It probably would have been a worse film if that happened. Who was the woman in that film? It was a blonde woman, I remember.
It's the
One
Scarlet
from-
Witch woman, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Elizabeth
Olsen.
Olsen, yeah. That's the only film, or a handful of films, that I didn't mind Jeremy Renner in. Where,
Yeah, that and The Town, I think.
yes, that's
he was all right in 28 Weeks Later.
Yeah.
Where he's just playing like a sort of a smaller character bit as a kind of a
Isn't he just like a soldier?
quiet
Yeah,
soldiery guy.
He's not really a leading man. That's the thing, isn't it? A character actor, shall we say?
Yeah, that term we always use. I will talk about that later on. It's someone I won't say his name now, but I watched a film that's quite uncharacteristic of me, and I was watching it and I thought, I don't know if he's a very good actor. But I'll go into it later on. I don't know if it's either the fact he's not a good actor, or if his accent is so naturally mishmash that it puts your ear off. And you think, like Malcolm McDowell?
It's just Charlie Hunnam.
Charlie Hunnam, I was going to say.
No, it's not. It's actually not. But with Malcolm McDowell, where he's got such a genuinely bizarre accent anyway, when it's off-putting. Yeah, and you think, I can't. Yeah, so I don't know if he's a bad actor or if. Anyway, we'll get into it later. So I've only got 3 films. I think Rupert's got a couple, including some animated ones. You've probably got 1,000, haven't you, Lazlo?
I've got 13.
Bloody Nora. Okay, do you want to kick off then?
Should I start with?
Wait, 13 Ghosts, 13th Warrior. You didn't say what film.
Films that begin with 13. Oh my god, look. Friday. How many are there? There was probably
we've covered
Friday 13th. Doesn't start with 13.
There's about 12 of those. I watched 13 Ghosts a few years ago on the podcast and covered it. But it's one of those films again, like Killer Elite, where I kind of watch it, forget if I like it or not, and have to keep watching it again. It's one of those films, like Van Helsing is one of those as well. So, do I like this or do I just remember it? And then so I have to keep watching them every few years to keep my mind in. So, have you watched a film called Electricity Bill? Or
yeah, should I start with films that we've got to review, or
that's probably a good idea?
Films I watched the longest ago.
I think the films we should review in case we get excited
Okay. I'll talk about Bad Man then, which I did actually watch weeks ago.
This was the one where you had the release date wrong, wasn't it? You were like,
Yes. I was ready to review this some weeks ago, and then I realised it was under embargo. But this is Bad Man. So this is directed by Michael Diliberti. Not familiar with the man's work.
I don't think his mother is either. But
this is a film with Sean William Scott in playing a. Well, so the story is a middleman kind of crook gets killed in a drug deal by some fanatical kind of rednecks, and then Sean William Scott plays a gruff, no bullshit state cop who comes in to try and crack the case after the local police have failed to do so. So it's a little bit of a departure for him, and he's not very stiflery. He's more like I wouldn't say quiet, but he's more of a gruff, do it my way or the highway kind of gunman, and he has to sort of shake up the soft local cops who've never really had to deal with proper crimes before. But as it turns out, the reason why the case hasn't been solved is that there may be some corruption going on in this town. And then there's another guy called Johnny Simmons, who you will probably recognize from things, who plays a kind of a downtrodden, honest cop who has to try and keep Sean William Scott on a leash and has to find his inner kind of action man. And it's okay. It's quite funny at times. It's not an action film as much as a kind of a comedy thriller, I would say, with the odd moments of gun violence. And Sean William Scott is surprisingly effective for the most part. But there are moments where it feels like he's improvising and he kind of deviates into stiflery things.
Yeah.
There is an aspect that makes sense of that later on, but it felt like they just
it's still him doing it though. Yeah.
Yeah, he was grinning and winging it, and it's like, okay. And this, what's his name? I didn't make a note of it. This guy in it who is Rob Riggle. Have you ever?
Yeah, I know.
He's in everything, and he plays the same.
He's also
shouty-
not very funny. He's
No,
really not funny.
He does the same shtick in everything, and he does it again here. And I was just like, oh, just stop casting this guy.
Well, like a sort of slightly goofy all-American.
Yeah, he's like a
slightly aggressive,
a stupid,
Yeah.
shouty, comedic shtick kind of thing. It's just
I don't know how he's not funny.
no. Is he like an SNL guy or something?
No, he used to be a Marine or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
Well, he's not a good actor.
No.
In the supporting cast, also I was sort of sad / glad to see there's an actor called Chance Perdomo who was in Gen V. You won't have watched that, Brit, because it's on telly.
Oh,
But he was good in that, and he was good in this, and he died last year in a motorbike crash or something. So it was nice. I think this was his last performance, so it was nice to see him in something, and he was good as well. So
that's harsh.
that was a bit of a sad note, but the film, all right, is it's okay. It's very generic, predictable. There's a twist at the end that it was so predictable that I didn't even bother rolling my eyes. It was like
you just stared straight ahead. Is it nice to see? Because I've never not liked Sean William Scott. He's not someone I look at and think, oh dear. But is it nice to see him doing something slightly different?
Yeah, and when it deviates into the Stifler stuff, it lets it down a bit. He was quite believably intimidating, I guess, at times, and he's just so gruff and so direct with everyone that it was amusing without feeling like he's playing the same character again.
Right.
But it does take a turn for the more Stifler-esque. There are the odd funny lines, so I did write one down, which it's a juvenile line, but I don't know why it made me laugh, where this sort of really sort of brash redneck cop says to his mate, they're going on a stakeout, he goes, you bring the snacks and I'll bring the pussy, then we'll both have something to eat.
Wow.
That's the sort of level of humor it's aiming at, and I maybe because I was tired, I did laugh. Anyway, it moves along at a decent pace, so if you want to watch something undemanding, then this is fine.
Oh, that's fair enough.
Do you think there's a chance of a kind of Josh Hartnett style second phase to Sean William Scott's career?
Maybe. If in a few more years, he still kind of looks quite young. If he got a bit more old and ragged looking, then yeah, I could see a comeback. I'm not sure he's ever really gone away. He's just kind of sort of had these just consistent.
He's quite Steve Zahnish in that respect, isn't he? Yeah, he's sort of unfortunately.
And it's really
he's quite Zahn-esque.
He's more Steve Zahn than Brackenmeyer in my eyes.
Yeah, this reminded me of that Steve Zahn film that I watched a few weeks back, and I've forgotten the name of that.
Oh, something Texas.
Yes.
Shagga, Texas, or something.
Steve Zahn in Texas. It was called. That's it.
And you didn't think too long about the title.
But that was a bit better than this one. But this is fine. It's okay.
Cool. Good to hear.
And that's all I have to say about it.
Rupert, do you want to pull your skirt down and show us what everyone's talking about?
What all the girls are talking about. I
They
watched.
call him 12 inches Rupert. I've never seen so much foreskin.
Wow.
Always like some like American
That
college
was
girl.
that was 12 inches of foreskin. The sequel to 12 Years a Slave. This and that was me doing that voice. That I haven't got like anyone here in the studio
Oh,
with
right.
me.
Wow. It's like a chameleon. Right. So I watched a film called War of the Rohirrim, which is a Lord of the
What?
Rings
This is the
anime.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
This is on Now TV now, so
It
I'm
is
going to
on Now
watch
TV
this.
now, yeah. So this is like it's from last year, anime Lord of the Rings film. It is set 200 years before The Hobbit, and it focuses on Rohan, the realm of the Horse Lords, and the king of Rohan, whose name is Helm Hammerhand, played by Brian Cox. He is presented with an offer from the neighbouring Dunlendings, like group of people, for one of their men called Wolf to marry his daughter, Hera. He refuses, which triggers a duel with fists between Helm and the Dunlending leader. And Helm basically punches him so hard he just dies right there. So that triggers a war between
Does he hit his head on
Edoras.
anything? Does he hit his head on a curb, or is it literally the punch that kills him, not the fall?
He just smacks him so hard he just dies.
Jesus.
I mean, he is called Hammerhand, to be fair, so he probably the writing was on the wall there, really, wasn't it? So yeah, and his triggers a war between Edoras and the Dunlendings, and after some bloody battles, Helm and his folk end up in what will become known as Helm's Deep, defending for their lives. So essentially, this is a film that is explaining how Helm's Deep got its name in quite a long-winded way.
Wow.
Are
there any orcs and stuff, or is it just people killing people?
I'm not sure. Yeah, there's this kind of like you briefly see some orcs, and they, in a quite an on-the-nose way, are talking about how the master has a weird interest in rings. It's like, okay, that's a bit on the nose, isn't it? Yeah, so it does feel a bit slight and irrelevant in a broader context, but it does add some interesting texture to the lore. It is based on an appendix for Lord of the Rings, albeit very expanded and changed, because, for example, making his daughter Hera the main protagonist, it's much more grounded, I would say, than like Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. It's not about magic or whimsy. There's no wizards. It's more of like a Norse style Blood and Thunder type movie. The score is not up to snuff, because one thing that's always been consistent throughout the Lord of the Rings adaptations has been this music. And Howard Shore and Ben McCreary did the show. They were able to, I don't know, they could capture kind of emotional chords whilst also making it kind of like quite triumphant sounding. But this is just loud, and all the best bits are just taken from Howard Shore's score. And this being anime, the animation is quite variable, and I guess some people might not appreciate the blend of like hyper real CG backgrounds at times and relatively basic anime art, but I think it looks pretty decent.
I was going to ask: does the anime, the trailer made it look quite anime style? Does that work with keeping it in keeping with the films, which are very kind of formal and?
Yeah, well, there's not. So yes, I'll come to this on the next movie actually as well. But anime is like always looks best when it's like moving and it's like action and stuff. And there's a lot of action in this movie, so most of the time it's fine. But yeah, in those stiller scenes, it can look a bit basic because there isn't a lot of detail on the faces and stuff. But it's fine. I mean, I've watched so many like old manga movies, and like the frame rate in them was pretty poor. So I think this looks pretty good to me. But yeah, and it's got some very variable voice acting. Brian Cox is awesome. And Lorraine Ashbourne as Olwen, Hera's handmaiden, she's really good. But the main lady, Hera, played by someone called Gaia Wise, she sounds too delicate for like this tomboy that she's portraying. So that's a bit disappointing. It does add some cool stuff to like the whole Lord of the Rings canon. Like you get to watch like a fight between like a Mumakil, an Oliphant giant elephant, and a Watcher in the water, tentacled beast that protects Moria. So you get a fight between them. That's kind of cool. And I like how Hera uses her wits in battles. She's not just presented as a physical superwoman. She's just quite clever. And yeah, it's just good to see some female characters foregrounded generally. And she's just not she's not default tough. And yeah, so it's more like when she's kind of thrust into the role of leader, it's more like her intellect and strategizing is her greatest strength. It does lack the depth of the best Lord of the Rings adaptations, but it's definitely not like a stain on the legacy or anything. And it's consistent with the tone and the lore. And unlike certain anime, it doesn't have endlessly tiresome verbosity and exposition, so that's good.
Or constant horrible rape scenes.
Yeah, more on that later as well. So it is definitely recommended for Lord of the Rings fans. I'd say for non-Lord of the Rings fans, it may come across as a bit of a movie footnote. I
say something? Because Lord of the Rings is becoming the new Stanley Kubrick, isn't it? On this podcast, I noticed I'm hearing a lot of Lord of the Rings recently.
Oh yeah.
And I know my extent of the Lord of the Rings is that the woman who made them is called Kelly Brimble, and that's it. I may have mispronounced that, but I did go to school with a girl called Kelly
Martin
Brimble.
Brundle.
Retired F1 driver, you say? Yeah. I don't think I'll ever watch that, but I'm just going to come out and say that.
It probably isn't for you. Really.
Where is it? Where is it viewable?
Now TV.
Oh, okay.
See, I am an enjoyer of Lord of the Rings, and this is even on the edge of my I'm not sure I can be asked. I think that this applied to a lot of people because it was a bomb, wasn't it? This
I
don't
totally
think it even made its budget back or something stupid.
I mean, I heard it was to do with like keeping hold of the copyright or whatever. They have to just keep making stuff to show that they want the license or whatever. I don't know how that works, but it's a bit of a weird idea anyway, isn't it? Like anime Lord of the Rings, it's not really a perfect marriage, is it?
It reeks of like a lack of commitment. They're like, we can make something for half the cost of a usual Lord of the Rings thing, then you can do it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it'd be cool. An animated Lord of the Rings isn't such a bad idea. I just think, I feel like, in terms of like CG, like ultra realistic CG or grounded CG, it's just a bit of a non-starter. It seems to be a non-starter since bloody Final Fantasy ruined it for everyone. Remember that back in the day? Spirits Within.
What was another called, like the Calendar Children or something as well?
There was an Advent Children, which was utterly tedious as well.
I genuinely didn't realise.
But yeah, and that was such a massive bomb that it literally just like ruined Square Studios. So, but yeah, it would be cool to have like but I guess in a way, what they're probably going for is like old school, like Ghibli type stuff or Miyazaki stuff. Like what was the one called? Like Princess Mononoke, that kind of thing, where it's a bit grounded, a bit fantastical, but also for slightly older kids, I suppose.
It's to tide you over until Thingy's Gollum film, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why are they making a Gollum film?
I don't know. Did I hear someone?
Because the Gollum game was so good.
I know, exactly. Day one. Yeah.
I always get amused by it. There's another. I don't understand the chronology or even the titling of a lot of like Final Fantasy anime stuff because you think of Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, but then you look and it's a Final Fantasy 7.5 and it's called like Infinite Resolve near the pipes, and you think what does that mean?
Yeah.
Why do these words together? I don't understand.
Final Fantasy 7.8 semicolon re::birth or something.
Re::birth where B is lowercase, everything else is in uppercase, and then there's and then $ ellipses near the mountain of shame, up, down. And I don't know what this is. These are just things. Here's no context. I tell you
it's
what,
just like trying to protect it from being searched for in search engines or something.
Yeah. Oh, have you seen
password?
Have you seen Final Fantasy? What 7? No, 7.8 semicolon colon birth location
school birth
up down. Yeah. What are you talking about? What's happening? Is it too hot for you? Yeah, it's. I don't know. I don't understand why they do those things. Where they just put words together.
This is reminding me of the film I saw on Prime the other day. I had to look it up again because I couldn't remember. It was called Super Apartment Wife. Just 3 words.
There's another superhero name.
Super Apartment Wife.
Bill and Super Apartment Wife.
It's a bit electric. Oh dear. Well, don't worry, guys, because we're going to come back down with a title we can all say. This is going to be a TMT, a 2-minute taster. I watched and then forgot about a film called Criminal Law from 1988, directed by Martin Campbell, written by Mark Kasdan, and starring Gary Oldman and Kevin Bacon. Faye had been doing jury service, and she didn't get chosen. So I said, what we'll do then, we'll just watch a film like set in a courtroom. I did try to watch 12 Angry Men, but we ended up setting on Criminal Law. And have either of you ever heard of this film?
No. I thought it was a TV series.
I thought it was a TV series as well.
No. You're thinking of Prime Suspect. One second.
Cracker.
Sorry, I just blew my nose quickly. So, yeah, we put this on, and I basically put it on, must have watched it, and 20 minutes before this podcast, I
swear I watched it.
Probably watched it. I looked at my letterbox just thinking, I've only watched 2 films, and then I saw Criminal Law, and I said, if it was I like drunk or was I stoned? Why don't I remember this? I remember like flashes. She said, oh, yeah, watched it. She said it was quite good, but I think she enjoyed it more than me. So the plot is, this is a 2-minute because it literally fell from my memory. Gary Oldman plays someone called Ben Chase, who's a defense attorney with preposterous hair. It's like I don't know how I kept on saying to her, how has he done that? And she's like, it's like he's swept it up and then back. So it's got like mid-80s Christian Slater height.
I was going to say.
That sort of, and then it flops down on the side. It's really bizarre. So anyway, he's got that hair, and Kevin Bacon has obviously got astonishing hair. We've seen Tremors. We know what he's capable of with his Barnett. And Gary Oldman is a defense attorney who basically gets people off by bending the law and being a bit on the shush about things. And Kevin Bacon is someone he thinks is probably guilty, but whatevs, gets him off. And then the plot then is effectively Kevin Bacon carrying on like murdering women, but Gary Oldman finding out that he's actually guilty, and then it's the attorney client, private privilege thing, or do I dob him in? Do I not? But the problem is that Gary Oldman is such an unlikable character, and we find out that Kevin Bacon's the killer so early that the whole film is basically Gary Oldman like really overacting and going balmy and sweating and shouting with his hair flying over and spitting, but actually not doing anything exciting because, well, it's like, well, I'm just watching a man basically whinge for an hour. But none of that matters because what I really remember is it's a really generic 90s thriller from what I can remember. I think it was 1988, so it's earlier than that. There was one scene in it relatively early on that I remember, and I was chatting to Rupert just before we started recording, and the leap of logic was so full on that I had to rewind it because I thought I must have missed a scene then. I must have been distracted. There's a scene where Gary Oldman goes into Kevin Bacon's, he lives on this palatial estate. His parents are extremely wealthy. And he goes into their house and says, I'm here to talk to Kevin Bacon. Martin Thiel, his name is. And she's, he's not here. And he sort of sneaks downstairs to where his sort of wing of this mansion is. And he goes downstairs and he goes to the corner of like a wardrobe and puts his hand at the bottom and he goes, oh, a breeze. There must be something behind this. And then Kevin's Bacon wife says, her mum says, what are you doing in here? And he sort of leaves. And then the next scene is him. And he pulls up next to a park and then he's breaking into those sort of you sort of see them in parks. They're almost like greenkeepers' huts, but it's like it looks like a sort of summer house where it's like a load of tools in there, but it's all sort of rounded wrought iron with like a glass roof, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense? And he breaks into that, and I thought, right, okay, what's he doing now? And then he falls through the floor, like he's walking around, and he falls through the floor, and then he's like walking through what I assumed was the sewers, and I thought, I don't really know where this is going. And then he gets to the end of this door at the sewers, opens it, and he's in Kevin Bacon's wardrobe. And he's like, I knew it. And I thought, hang a banger, because you were in a house like hundreds of feet away in a city, and just thought, well, I'll just drive to a park and smash my way in somewhere and hope I fall through the floor and find a secret passage. And then don't seem shocked when that chain of events it becomes true.
Wow.
It's bizarre. There's it gets preposterous towards the end. It brings in like his about it does that thing where you're like watching like a silly film and then all of a sudden it gets really full on and you children finding out that these illegal abortions are going on and you're like, it's just really messy and like mean spirited, and it was just I forgot about it. I totally forgot about it as soon as I watched it, but it's worth it for that scene and Gary Oldman's hair. There's also a scene where Gary Oldman is having sex with this woman who just wouldn't fancy him because he's just so manic and unreliable and alcoholic. And he's having, it almost looks like a rape scene. He's just like really going at her. And then halfway through, she just turns into Kevin Bacon. And I thought, what's happening here? What film am I watching? So, yeah, it's not very good at all. And it's 2 hours long as well.
What is the metaphor there? Like,
he's on his mind. Yeah.
That he actually wants to shag Kevin Bacon?
I don't know. I don't know.
From whose perspective is he changing into Kevin Bacon now? From hers?
From his.
That?
Gary Oldman is having sex with a woman,
being
and then
Kevin Bacon,
and then the woman just turns into Kevin Bacon and starts laughing at him, and he's like, "Oh,
right, okay, all right."
So, but yeah, I
carry on having sex with Kevin Bacon.
No, he does stop. The only man I ever pretend phase is Peter Ebdon. That's as far as my imagination goes, unfortunately. Yes, so that's with a celebrity sex mask. So yes, it's on Amazon Prime, obviously, but it's not a hidden gem. It's just a really silly, slightly nasty film with a fantastic leap of logic in the center of it.
I'm amazed that Amazon Prime is still able to come up with new things like to watch of this nature. I mean, I guess a lot of films have come out in the last 30 years, but I'm always impressed when I go on there. Like, oh, look, there's another schlock piece of shit 90s thriller that I've never heard of before. But
I kind of hope they never end up, because I was on there with, and Faye said, should we watch, you've probably seen it, a new horror film called The Monkey. And yes, she wanted to watch that. And I said, okay, we'll keep scrolling and see what else is there. And then I saw two films, one with Brian Dennehy in, and one, I think, with Craig Fairbanks in. And she went, oh, they look good. And I actually looked at her and thought, are you me? Have we swapped? Is this like Freaky Friday, but it's like more like Brilliant Tuesday? But yeah, so she's kind of getting the vibe now, which I like. Which we watched a film called Flight Risk, and we spent the entire film, which I'll talk about when it's my turn next, the entire film talking about how bad the makeup and CG was in it. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. So yes, Criminal Law, do not bother.
Is
I won't.
The Monkey?
I watched that.
Okay, I haven't seen it. Is it a remake of Monkey Shines?
Not that I'm aware of. It's based on a Stephen King short, I think.
Yeah, that's Monkey Shines then.
Oh, okay. I've not read that. Is it into a film previously, or is this?
It was a George A. Romero film from the 80s.
Ah,
it was all right. It's quite amusing.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
I
could just talk about The Monkey briefly now, because I haven't got much to say about it.
Yeah. Is it Osgood Perkins who did?
Yeah.
Yes,
that was my issue with it. That's why I haven't watched it yet.
Film with the albino Nicolas Cage. What was that called?
Long Legs. A lot of people liked that film a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Long Legs.
I did. The ending must have lost you, though.
Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
a mad fan of the ending. That's fair to say. I like the tension and the
Yeah.
style. I feel like they revealed him too soon, and then once he was revealed, it became Nicolas Cage in a weird mask.
That was what made me realize that in journalistic terms, unrecognizable can be put on the same shelf as break silence. Because it did look like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, it did. And the monkey I also liked but didn't love. So, I mean, the basics of it is that Theo James plays twin brothers who reunite to deal with a cursed monkey doll that killed a lot of people when they were kids and has now returned to haunt them as adults. It's kind of a family heirloom of sorts, like a cursed family heirloom, which they chucked down a well, and now it's found its way back out and is killing people off again. And it's fun on the whole. There's some fun, like there's a kill in the opening scene that made me laugh out loud. Just it was so unexpected in the way it played out. But it is like paper thin. This is like it's a horror comedy with some fun kills and irreverent sort of humor, but there's almost absolutely nothing else in its head. It's just enjoy the schlock and the humor, and it's nicely shot and things, and it's well paced. A good sort of Friday night fare, but it's not one that lingers in the memory.
This makes me more likely to watch it. To say it's got pace and a sense of humour.
Yeah,
two things that I've not associated with Osgood Perkins before.
No, I'm pretty sure it's about 90 minutes long. It was over very quickly. Yeah, it's all right. Fun enough.
I'll watch that.
So, Rupert, the flaming baton gets passed back to you, but if you look closely enough, oh, that's it. It's got a bit of pup on the end.
Should I talk about a proper film? Just because I've got so many to get through.
Yeah, please do.
So I'll cover the other review one, which was Dreaming of You, The Making of the Coral.
Yeah, I'm going to mute myself for this because I have nothing to add. I don't care about this band.
So this is a documentary about the Coral, the UK band from Liverpoolish way, and it charts their rise to fame from them starting off as kids and forming in school and all the way up to them hitting the big time. It feels, I would say, a bit late because it literally stops with them like appearing on TV 20 years ago. So it's a bit like, what did they do since then? I had to look it up.
Well, I was going to say, you mentioned the Rise to Fame. I'm not sure I've heard of the Coral. Do anyone know their songs?
You might recognise a couple of their songs.
Probably.
I have an album of theirs on CD. That's an indication of how long ago it was when I listened to them last. If you're a fan of them, they have been making albums since. I did check. They've released like 10 albums.
And you've got all them on cassette.
Yeah. So if you're a fan, I'm sure you're going to get a lot out of this because it really digs into the details of them meeting in school and finding their own style based on sort of all the influences that were around them in the post-Britpop kind of era, and then how they dealt with sort of a sudden spike in popularity where they went on Jay Leno's, is it Leno's show? One of those chat shows, and they were on top of the pops and stuff. And they were only like 16 or 17 or something when they hit, so they were kids, so it was quite a meteoric rise. And it's really well put together. It's like it involves sort of animation. They obviously filmed loads of stuff on like camcorders and sort of 8mm cameras, and so they're clowning around, and it's mixed in with animation and computer game bits and gig footage and archive interviews and stuff. So it's like a really kind of like a colourful collage that keeps it visually stimulating and very evocative of the 90s and noughties kind of.
I was going to say, it does sound quite nostalgic in a way. Maybe that's the part of the appeal.
And if you're not a fan of the band, I would say it's worth watching still if you have a nostalgia for that sort of time and place in British indie music. It did make me want to pick up the guitar and go back to playing with chums in a room. There's a lot of that kind of nostalgia for that kind of simple existence in this. So it is quite a love letter to a kind of a time and place and an appreciation of just playing music with your friends kind of thing. So it's definitely a nice, an easy watch, and you don't have to be a super fan of the band to enjoy it. I would say if I were to criticize anything, that oddly they interview the band throughout, so they're constantly sort of talking and relaying stories and the stuff, but you never see them in interview, which I thought was quite weird. So they kind of become disembodied voices, almost like I guess the idea is that they're talking as one, and it removes an element of ego about it, that they're not like, showing their faces. But at the same time, when it came to the end and they say, this guy, member of the band, has done this and this member has done that, I'm like, I don't know which one that is. I haven't identified the names with the faces of the members of the band.
You haven't established those basic
facts. So that was a little bit of an odd one, but it was a small grumble, really. I did really enjoy it. And
did you say they're still going?
Yeah. Oh. Well, most of this, there were 6 of them, and then 2 of them have dropped off and done solo projects, but the core are still going.
Okay, yeah. So I thought they'd be like a slightly depressing ending where they have like a couple of good,
They're all still alive.
Oh, yeah, big selling albums, and then like 2 die. One becomes a gas fitter. One becomes gambling alcoholic.
Yeah. Oh, there is the producer. You find out at the end he died, which is a bit sad because he was kind of instrumental in getting them off the ground as sort of scraggly kids without any real ambition. He was the one who said, like, you've got something, and
didn't take advantage of them.
Seemingly not. I don't know. They painted him in a positive light. But, yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good, and it's out now somewhere.
What's it called again?
Dreaming of You: The Making of the Coral.
Okay.
And that's it. I've done my reviews for the week. I can now talk about 90s trash.
I have another anime to speak of, and this one's a bit of a deep cut. This is a fairly obscure 1987 sci-fi drama called Wings of Honey Armies, or to give its full title, Royal Space Force Wings of Honey Armies. And
Wings of Honey Armies.
How do you spell that?
HONNEAMISE. Oh, I don't know.
I should have guessed that already, shouldn't I? Oh, the art style looks really nice from what I can see on these.
It is. So it's. I don't even know what that title means, because I don't know whether this is the place in it or what. But anyway, this was released by Manga Video in the mid-90s, which is probably where I saw it originally. But the 90s Manga Video release had a crucial piece of editing in it, which I'll mention later. But anyway, this is set in a fictional realm, which is either an alternative present or possibly near future, and it follows this Royal Space Force recruit called Shiro, who's basically in the program because he's just lazy, and he thinks it'll be a good way of like doing nothing. So there are various factions trying to disrupt or terrorize the space project, and Shiro, this guy, is going to be the world's first astronaut. Basically, there's this negative public opinion, funds being wasted, etc. And so there's all this turmoil going on around the project. Then Shiro meets this preacher lady, and he kind of falls in love with her, even though she has zero interest. Anyway, she opens his eyes to like the deeper meaning of life and shows him that he does in fact have a purpose. So you get these kind of 3 quite elegantly woven strands where it's about like the practical construction of the space rocket, the bigger political and military forces, and then you get this existential religious significance of it all. So it's sort of an anime, the right stuff or something. But I think the decision to set the movie in this completely made up alternative world is quite genius, because it just liberates it from real world politics and religion. So that's good. So yeah, as you allude to, the main positive really is the incredible art design. It's like, it feels like a genuinely original Future Vision, and I'm not even sure what style you really call it. It's sort of a blend of retro futurism and maybe a hint of steampunk or something. Everything's a bit clunky. The tech is very non-digital. It's all switches and dials, and the architecture is all this kind of like Soviet era, beautiful crumbling buildings, and there's a scene with an assassin, and he uses like a clockwork pistol, so that's kind of rad. The animation quality, again, variable, sometimes beautiful, sometimes terrible, and but I'd say the static shots look good because the backgrounds are so gorgeous, so that's cool. The music is by Ryoichi Sakamoto, who was a big deal in the 80s and 90s, actually. He did like Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, and Last Emperor, Snake Eyes. I think he did The Revenant as well more recently. It's a very bold score. It's like nice melodies with some pretty abrasive industrial synth, and it gives a sense of this alternative, slightly alien world, and it works really well. It's a good voice acting, especially the main guy. No idea who plays him. It's got a very idiosyncratic script. It's not verbose or anything, but the way the characters talk, especially the main character, he's just sometimes he'll just start a scene and he'll just be mumbling existential nonsense to himself. It doesn't. I don't know whether it's like an issue of like
translation.
Yeah, maybe translation. It's a very visual story anyway, so but you kind of follow it. And then you've got this slightly problematic female character, the woman that he falls for, this preacher. I kind of get it. Like, he witnesses all these really callous, unholy politics, and then on the other side, he meets sort of this woman who's like blinded by religious fundamentalism, and then he ultimately meets somewhere in the middle. And I don't think she's meant to be a sympathetic character. I think she's meant to represent how like blind faith is totally useless if your house is being bulldozed by the government. So it's got great atmosphere, good action scenes. Seems quite different from most anime sci-fi. There's no mech robots or anything like that, and it's thoughtful and more suitable for younger viewers, except for one scene, and this is the scene that was cut from the manga video version, which I originally saw, and it's basically it's an attempted rape scene, of course.
Of course it is.
Yeah. On one level, I guess what they're trying to do is like slam the door on the on the romantic angle of it, but like it's just a grotesque aberration of a scene which changes the whole tone of the story and totally turns you against the protagonist. And it makes no sense in the flow of the story at all. And it's a real pity because it does spoil the last act of the film. Overall,
would it be better without to watch the version without that scene?
Yeah, but good luck finding that bad boy, because you can't. This film is. I had to get this on DVD, and actually, it was. I only got it on DVD because it was it had the manga logo on it. I thought, oh well, it will not have the incongruous rape scene in it, but no, it still has it. They've obviously reinserted it, which is amazing. So yeah, it really is a problematic scene. So it's and I think it was controversial at the time, and the director came out and tried to defend it, but I don't know, it sounds like bullshit. Anyway,
it was the same problem with Ninja Scroll as well. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, well, Ninja Scroll is very disgusting and rapey, isn't it? Which is a real pity because that's got such a lot of imagination behind it, and some of the monster designs are totally gross. Yes. Anyway, so as I say, overall, worth seeking out for those who have a passing interest in anime and aren't into penis tentacles or mech suits. I wouldn't say it's up there with like Akira or another of my favourites, Pat Labor 2. It's one of my favourites.
I think I voted for him.
In terms of thoughtful sci-fi, but yes, stylish. And it's in this similar arena to those.
Why did you watch?
So if you can find it somewhere, crack on.
Why did you watch this? Like, I've never heard of this. What? How
I fancied some anime, and I thought I remember that being good.
Oh, right. So you've seen.
That's why.
What's the difference between an OVA and an ONA?
I don't know. What is the context here?
Oh, because I'm not going to tell you. No, apparently Gainax Studios is the company behind this, and they went defunct last year, but became defunct last year. I was looking at just as you were chatting, then it was like filmography, TV series, right? Films, right? And then it says OVAs and ONAs, and the first one is Appleseed, and I remember that, but I thought, well, if that's not an anime, like a Japanese anime film, what's the difference between an animated film and a Japanese OVA and ONA? If none of us know it, then I'll just look into it after this podcast. I thought it would be a quick answer.
No, I don't know.
No,
fair enough. There's people listening to this podcast now saying, fucking dullets. Yeah. I'll quickly move on to a film that I didn't expect to watch, but quite enjoyed, but I can imagine it wouldn't be too well reviewed, is The Thursday Murder Club.
Oh God!
On Netflix.
This is new.
Yeah. Sorry.
I didn't expect that would be what you would reach for.
This isn't Canon Films.
This isn't even PM Entertainment. It's not directed by Godfrey Ho, the G-Ho. No, basically it was quite recent, a few days ago. I was with Faye and we sort of settled down. We're both quite tired, and I said, I want to watch something, but I don't want anything too challenging or full on. I just want something. I was just really, you have those days you just feel a bit frazzled, a bit overwhelmed, and I said, I just want something I can just sort of sit through. And then that popped up as
set of Midsummer Murders out.
No, Bergerac with John Nettles, and this popped up, and I thought, we'll just chuck that on. It's 2 hours. We probably won't get through it because it was like 10:30 by the time we put it on. But it was so sort of Sunday afternoon nanny moody mystery sort of thing with elder statesmen of British actors that I kind of found it oddly endearing. This is a film set in a place called, what is it called? Oh, bloody hell, I've forgotten the name of the place already. It's like Cooper's Chase, which is this palatial rural mansion that a load of retirees live in. So you've got Jonathan Pryce and Helen Mirren. Jonathan Pryce is ailing into dementia, and Helen Mirren it's hinted at she's sort of an ex-MI6 spy who now is part of this Thursday Murder Club with Pierce Brosnan, Celia Imrie, and Ben Kingsley, who just try to solve random old unsolved murders. It's very...
Surely Bill Nye's in it.
No, he's not. Always Faye refuses to stop calling him Billy Nye. He's not in it. Tom Ellis is, if that is a name anyone has any idea of. It looks a little bit like the bloke who was a werewolf in True Blood. But yeah, so it starts off and it's just Helen Mirren is the MI6 spy, Pierce Brosnan is a retired activist, Ben Kingsley is a retired psychologist, and Jonathan Pryce is Helen Mirren's husband, and they have this Thursday Murder Club where they meet up, and they, we have like knitting or whatever, this is their thing, and they just pull up random old murders and try to solve them. And at the start of it, they're trying to solve this murder of a woman who was supposedly pushed out of a window and killed by a burglar as her husband arrived, saw her fall, and then chased off the killer, but he was never found, and it's sort of hinted at that he killed her. They have a friend called Penny who's now been moved into a sort of hospice wing, so she's on her last legs, bless her, and they bring in Cecilia Imrie, who plays someone called Joyce, who is a cake baking enthusiast who comes in and is an ex-nurse, so she can sort of help them with the more medical side of things. And it's that the plot is them trying to solve this murder whilst David Tennant turns up a sort of evil land grabbing owner who wants to just knock Cooper's Chase down and build luxury flats. And there's a bloke, a sort of a Londoner, who runs Cooper's Chase and is fighting against him, and then he gets killed, and then they're trying to solve both murders at once. It is very light. This is a very light, bloodless, like I said, Sunday afternoon thing like my nan would watch. But it was oddly compulsive because it was just cool to see all these actors together. And it when I saw Jonathan Pryce and the film informed me that he was sort of slipping into dementia, I thought, oh, don't fucking do this. Don't get all sentimental. Let's keep it light and fun, okay? And it is, whilst it is a minor plot point, it's not. It doesn't tug on the heartstrings. It's not like an Odyssey film where you think, oh, no, everyone's died. It is quite light and sort of, and even their age is only limited to a few little sort of jokes where, someone will get wound up and they'll say, oh, careful, think of your blood pressure, let your statins do their thing. And I can cope with that, like a little nods, because these are all older people. So yeah, all well and good. Surprisingly enjoyed it. And I said to Faye, I wouldn't be surprised if this spun off. I believe it's written by, is it Richard Osmond?
Oh yeah.
Tall bloke off the
books, isn't it?
From The Chase?
Not the Chase. Is it the Chase?
Is it?
I thought it was from Countdown. See, I know nothing about TV, so either way, he wrote the book, and I said to Faye, I can imagine this being an elderly British actor thing of like Knives Out,
like a franchise type thing.
Yeah, like a franchise in the way that Knives Out is, and I thought I'd be cool because I would watch them all because they have got that sort of light breezy mood. Anyway, that's all good. Weirdly enjoyed it. We'll watch another one if they bring it up. My point is, Pierce Brosnan, right? I don't know if he can act or not because I like him, and I really liked him in The Matador, and in Gold. He's all well and good.
And that one with the clown in the wheelchair that explodes.
Oh my god! Yes, where they push him into the fountain. Yes, was that Remington? No, it wasn't Remington Steele, was it?
That was the TV series he was in. What was that film called? It's called like Livewire.
Livewire, that was it, yeah. When he's constantly, that was the one where his wife leaves him because he effectively neglected their child and she died. And then when she tries to reconcile with him, he just starts hurling a boost at her and smashing bottles. And I thought, yeah, I can see why you left him, to be honest. Anyway, Pierce, his accent is like Malcolm McDowell-ish in this. And we were talking about this just before recording. With Malcolm McDowell, right? Oh no! I said this online. I think sorry. With Malcolm McDowell, his accent is so garbled and like sort of mid-Atlantic and English and that it sounds like he can't settle on an accent. Yeah. So it's off-putting when you're listening to him because he's slipping in and out. But that's his accent. Pierce Brosnan is the same because it goes from Irish to British to American. And at one point, he's putting on an accent of this, and I thought, I don't know where he's supposed to be from. And all that meant was every time he spoke, my brain clicked into, so what accent is that supposed to be? But it might just be his accent. And it was really distracting, like really distracting. And it kind of ruined the film because he became a joke character. Ben Kingsley, by the way, he doesn't need to be in this film. And I don't know if it would probably make more sense if I read the book. But I don't know if he was a main character in the book that was sidelined in this, in Space of Helen Mirren, or if he just has this sort of slightly neurotic thing going on, but he basically just sort of chips in to every conversation. Like the scene will end and he will chip in, and I thought, is he just here because he's Ben Kingsley? I mean, I love Ben Kingsley, but he seems a bit of an afterthought in this whole film. Yeah. It's yes. So
the accent thing. Yeah, thinking about that, it's like if. It's distracting because it's like if they're trying to put on an accent, then evidently they're failing, right? So that's distracting.
Yes.
If it's just their natural accent, then they're not trying to put on another accent. So that's lazy. So, so either way, it's not good.
Well, you say that though, but if you think about this film, actually, if they're not trying to put on an accent, it's lazy. But Jonathan Pryce, Helen Mirren, Ben Kingsley and Pierce Brosnan all have quite distinct ways of speaking, don't they? They've got quite unique voices. Like you could listen to a clip of them and know who it is. So you can't really blame him for that. It's just just a shame that he hasn't got a clear cut accent. Because
Yeah.
it is like I can't him like if he ever narrated an audiobook, it would be a nightmare. You would know what was because you're like, what's happening? Who's narrating this?
Sometimes they explain the stuff away, don't they, and say like he's travelled a lot. So I used to live in,
like Arnie and Commander. When I was a boy growing up in West Germany.
Yes,
classic. Exactly the kind of thing you say to your child, son. I know you've known me for 15 years, but when I was a child growing up in West Germany, I just use that as an opening gambit to my son in any conversation, really. But Does anyone know who Tom Ellis is, by the way? Faye was excited when he was on screen.
Okay.
I just looked him up, but I don't recognise him. It looks like he's been in quite a lot of TV shows.
Nah, that's why I don't give a shit about him.
Lucifer.
Oh, he was Lucifer?
Rupert,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, right, I remember that show because that was based on the Neil Gaiman graphic novel.
He was really good, and it's one of those things where it's like I can imagine that this role is going to be not just a defining role, but literally anything else he does, he's just not. It's going to be distracting him doing anything else. If you see what I mean?
Oh
yeah, he's so perfect for that role.
Like Michael C. Hall with Dexter, it's such a long-standing series. Yeah, he was born in Cardiff as well.
Born in Cardiff, exactly.
Yeah, in fact, in this show, he says, "Oh, Dad, I got to scoot off. I'm waiting for a fucking parcel." So yeah, I remember that. That makes sense now. I tell you what else is from Cardiff is that bloody woman who was in As Above, So Below, Rupert. That film that everyone loved, apart from us.
Oh yeah, well that one was that the one set in Paris?
Yes, and it was awful. a bad found footage film. I just assumed the people who watched it had never seen a found footage film, so it was new, and that's what got them through it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's the only thing. The shock of the new is all I could think of there, because they weren't watching a good film.
So, is it whose turn is it now? Is it back to Lazlo?
Yeah,
maybe it probably should be because I've got a lot to get through. I don't know whether I want to skip to like the sort of schlocky 90s stuff, but I have a modern one to get out of the way first. So I watched the Amateur. Have you guys seen this one? With
the fact you're sighing as you talk about it isn't a good sign.
I won't talk about it for long. So Rami Malek walks the tightrope between being a good and bad actor again in this forgettable thriller. That asks the question, how would Jason Bourne kill bad guys if he was terrible at fighting and shooting?
That question everyone asks.
Yeah.
But
everyone thought that's a film worth making.
I just need a bit of scene set in your Lazlo. In this film, is it like it starts off and you hear like and he sits up in bed and he is bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, wide awake, not a shadow on his face, or does he look completely and utterly fucking knackered?
He looks like he's on chemo. Yeah, no, I mean, it does
didn't represent the rest of us here at Kino Kingdom, by the way.
He does actually start with him bright and breezy because he literally lives on like an idyllic, like, the Kent farm kind of spread. But he's a CIA analyst, so he must have a fucking long commute from this farm in Kansas to this massive like industrial block where he works for the CIA. But anyway, he works for the CIA as an analyst, so he's an office guy who does the thinking, and he's got a smoking hot wife played by Rachel Brosnahan.
That still looks right. Yeah.
I was thinking of Petro Hanrahan.
We always are, aren't we?
And so she then travels off to Europe or Paris and gets killed in a little hostage scenario that somehow connects back to Rami Malek's boss at the CIA. So he has to go rogue to find the guys who were involved in this kidnapping and trace the steps back. And so he has to do this with no physical skills whatsoever. Like literally, people are constantly reminding him that he doesn't even know how to fire a gun and stuff. So he has to use his analytical mind to get these people instead by just bombing them and stuff, really. It's not that inventive, to be honest. And it's a pretty generic, overlong action film with a lot of subplots and characters. A lot of decent actors turn up in this. Like Lawrence Fishburne turns up as someone who tries to train him how to use a gun, but then gets assigned to track him down. So his mentor becomes his hunter. John Bernthal is in this as another highly trained operative who you think, okay, he's going to come back later and they're going to have a clash. But then he just comes back later and they have a chat in a cafe and then he fucks off again. It's quite underwhelming. And Rachel Brosnahan has a very weird role where she gets bumped off like at the beginning, but then she reappears in it many, many times in like visions, and she just sort of turns up and goes, "What are you doing?" And then she vanishes like a ghost. And I'm thinking, why did she sign up for this role? But then I realized it's because she gets to go to Paris, and then she gets to go to Morocco, and then she gets to go to like a beach and stuff, and just do one day's work in each location and just lord it up. So she probably had a great time making this. But everyone is essentially wasted, and Rami Malek there are moments in this where he's like meant to look upset or under duress that literally made me laugh out loud. He's so his face and the way he overacts everything is quite something to witness. But at the same time, he's then good in other bits. It's very weird. I can't figure him out as an actor.
No,
at
he's
all.
a strange one, isn't
he?
Unique.
But yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's just a lame-ass Bourne ripoff, really. And it panders to a sequel at the end, and just thought, we don't need one. It's fine.
No, we're all waiting for the sequel to Bright it anyway. Sorry.
I mean, it sounds like a kind of inversion of the Bourne, but actually it's basically the same plot, isn't it, really? Because with Bourne, especially the first one, like the whole thing is that he loses memory or whatever, and it's like he actually isn't very competent at the start, is he? And he gradually learns he remembers his training sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so in this, he hasn't got the skills, but presumably it's still the same progression that he eventually ends up being competent, right?
Yeah.
Or does he just never end up being competent?
They're a little bit. They straddle a line. Like they do indicate at some points that he can actually can shoot straight. And
okay,
but it's mainly meant to be about him using his brain to outsmart people. But he still ends up just killing people in fairly fun, rudimentary ways. It is. So yes, and he gets more and more competent at it as he goes along. So it really does just follow the same path, but it's quite a bit longer. I don't know how long it was, but it definitely felt like it was over 2 hours, and it was a lot of subplots and characters that they could have just done away with. And it thinks like it's saying something deep. The final confrontation with this bad guy, they literally kind of have a conversation. And then that's the end. And you're like, oh, you think there's something deep and meaningful about this, about grief or, I don't know, the nature of revenge or something, but it's not deep. There's nothing clever going on.
So at the very end is just a chat.
Yeah. I won't reveal it exactly. There's another aspect to it. But
does he shoot him with a rocket launcher in a cafe?
Sadly not.
It's in a delicatessen, actually. I noticed that Holt McCallany is in this film. Did he mention Fancy Me at any point, or was he quiet on that front?
He did. He dropped me an email.
Oh, nice. As you imagine, Lazlo, I know you're watching. The Amateur, but tell Brett I fancy him. Is that what the message said?
Yeah. He said, "I know you're not going to say very nice things about the film, but can you say some nice things to Brit from me?"
Can you do an impression of me behind Brit, please? So that it just sounds like a generic. Like I would not Rami Malek. I don't think I've ever seen him in a film, so I don't intend to start on that one really.
What was the? I mean, the Queen film obviously
Bohemian
put him
Rhapsody.
on the map. Yeah. But he was in something else before that. Oh, he was in Mr. Robot. That was a TV show.
Yeah.
Did you watch the last Bond film? He was in that.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. I've seen him in that.
I remember first seeing him in the Pacific war drama. That was another Savalas though.
I tell you what I haven't seen him in. Bed, sleeping, so he doesn't look tired. Is it my turn?
Yeah. So that's The Amateur. It's on Disney Plus now.
Can I quickly, just to end, this is my third film, can I quickly talk about Flight Risk?
Sure.
Yes, please.
Which, on the poster, when you go on Google and type in Flight Risk movie, it says Mark Wahlberg Flight Risk, which is, that is pushing it. They were, you could tell they knew this was a crock of shit, and they were like, just Mark Wahlberg's the biggest star here, get him on that fucking poster.
I like how they've carefully cropped the poster to hide the really bad bald cap that he's wearing in this film.
No, more on that later, Lazlo. So yeah, this is. I was very surprised that this was directed by Mel Gibson because I thought he only directs really heavy-duty films, so the ones I don't watch. Because I've seen Braveheart, which Lazlo pointed out was directed by him. I thought he just starred in it. I haven't seen Apocalypto. I haven't seen The Passion of the Christ. So I just thought, why is he directing this like really forgettable, like mid-budget thriller with? This is
Back in the Door seems to be.
Oh, just so look, I did that, and I didn't drink myself to death, so now I can do Passion of the Christ too. I was. This is a. I'm not going to give this a typical review. I'm just going to cut to the chase of the film. So yes, directed by Mel Gibson, and the premise. This is the only film, by the way, that I haven't wanted to leap into my TV and strangle Topher Grace in, and it's only because he plays like a Weasley piece of shit, which is what he is. So it doesn't. I kind of didn't mind it, but he's a bad actor, and this is a bad film. And the best thing about it is that Michelle Dockery has a very convincing American accent. It's spot on, much better than Pierce Brosnan or Malcolm McDowell's. So it starts off, and it's really generic. Topher Grace is, is basically nicked a lot of money from the mob, gone on the run, and they've located him in some Alaskan area. He's in like a shitty cabin, and Michelle Dockery is there to take him back, chucks him on a plane, and is going to take him back to Anchorage in Alaska, and then drive back to like wherever she needs to take him, so we can go against what's the word? No, dob. What's the posh word for dobbing someone in?
Grass.
Grass on the Moretti crime family, because he was the accountant, and so he's this sort of neurotic accountant character. Just a really sort of skittish character. And Michelle Dockery is someone who has been taken out of the field because of an issue that becomes apparent in the film, and she's at a desk job for you. So this is the first time sort of tracking someone down and taking them back, because he's, what is the word? Does it begin with L? When you go and you go to court and you, what's the word?
Giving evidence, sort of thing.
Yeah, you give evidence against someone. There's a word for it.
Yeah, I think you're right, but
anyway, okay, I can't remember.
State's evidence? No.
Testify.
Oh,
Testify against the Moretti crime family. That's the word I was looking for. So anyway, the whole film is pretty much set on the plane with these three characters. So Mark Wahlberg gets on, and it's not a spoiler to say that he is pretending to be this sort of in this like rickety old Cessna getting them back. He's actually a hitman there to kill them, and the whole film is them trying to incapacitate him and trying to work out how to land the plane. So it's all a kind of mix for like a throwaway thriller. But what happened was, when you find out who Mark Wahlberg is, he punches or he clocks Michelle Dockery in the face, and instantly she's got this massive, ridiculous yellow bump on her face, like it's a week-old bruise, and the blood is like cut, like a ridiculous cut that never bleeds, and Faye could not let go of it. So for the next 90 minutes, she said, "I can't believe how bad the makeup is in this film," and in every time something happened to do it was noticeable. It was very bad. The blood is all CG. And they're, of course, all in this film. And you saying he's wearing a bad ball cap, it's not. He actually shaved his head, Lazlo, right? But it's done in such an amateurish way that it doesn't actually look like someone going bald. So he's kind of shaved his head and given himself a stupid haircut for 3 months for no reason, because it looks worse than a ball cap would. He's shaved his head. If you imagine, like, we've all got full heads of it. If you shaved your head into a skillet but didn't blend it or anything at all, so it's just you've got a gap.
Yeah,
but you can
it looks
see
like a monk's kind of.
you can see that there's full stubble there. It's a full head of hair. It just looks like a ridiculous haircut, but he is wearing a wig underneath his cap, so that's off-putting, really off-putting. The very, very bad, and it is bad, bruise makeup is really off-putting. And there's towards the last half of the film when one of the characters, I won't say who for spoiler purposes, gets wounded, like in almost a mortal way. So they're like really pallid and grey. That looks good. It looks like they're having a rough time. But then from scene to scene, they will have. I know the viewers don't probably know what it look like. I've got my facial hair right is basically like a, as Max says, like a fucking musketeer. So I've got like a moustache, like a little beard, and then a soul patch. You imagine if you're watching me in a film and I've got a soul patch of blood, right? A triangle of blood right where like that beard is. And it just comes and goes. And there's no reason for it. It just comes and goes. And this person never gets hit in the mouth. So there's because it's all a lot of close-ups in bad CG cabin of this flight, you can't not pay attention to it. So because you feel like you're being told, because it's a claustrophobic film, told to pay attention to all the details, and all the details, there's like very poor continuity and very poor makeup, very poor costume and hair, then it's very noticeable. There's no hint that anyone other than a journeyman director would have directed this. It's just a really like low budget. I can't believe it cost 25 million.
And it's got a proper cinema release too.
It's so misleading. I'm looking at the poster. I'm just looking at this because I just randomly chose it on Netflix. The poster with him holding a gun with the planes and the jets flying by them, and then the Wikipedia entry where it's him and it makes it look like it's a cliffhanger with him. It's just completely not representative of the film. And I can imagine they saw the film and all the producers got together in a room and they all raised their champagne glasses and then they all went 1, 2, 3. Oh fuck! Because it's an unsalvageable film or an unsalvable film, if you will, and because and the marketing is just pushing. Pushing an image of the film that does not exist. It is a bad, lazy, cheap, claustrophobic film with really cheap jokes in it, and also talking about unneeded rape scenes. This is a silly 90s thriller set on a plane, right? Like a plane where it's run out of fuel and how they're going to land and all that bullshit, which is totally fine. But Mark Wahlberg, for most of it, is chained up in the back, hurling abuse at them, and all of his abuse is tied to rape. Like he's constantly threatening to like rape the woman or rape the man, or insinuating he's already found where the man's mum is and raped her. And you think it's just really tonally uneven on top of everything else. And
did Mel Gibson write this as well as direct it? Because he's got a track record.
It was written by Jared Rosenberg. I don't know what that is, but it's a terrible script. And I just was watching it, and I was, by the end of it, I was wide awake because I thought, why are these people involved in this? Why is this film? Why has he directed it?
Also,
it's so
Mel Gibson's current profile. I mean, it just doesn't do people like Michelle Dockery, who has a very successful, British actress career, doesn't do her any favors at all by association, really. Like Marky Mark he's a bit of an idiot by all accounts, anyway. But and then Topher Grace he's Topher Grace, but
he's just a non-entry, isn't he? And yeah.
I'm surprised that it just seems so journeyman-like and amateurish because, I mean, Mel Gibson's directed films before, in case you didn't noticed. So you'd think that it would be,
and he said epics as well. It feels like, I tell you what it reminded me of, and this is very damning. It gave me vibes of, I watched a film called Money Plane about 2 years ago that I covered on the podcast, and it starred Adam Edge Copeland, the WWE wrestler, and it felt like that, but on a plane and people acting badly, and it's a bad film. I don't know what reviews it's received, but it was, even if if this film was directed by someone else and they were like non-actors in it, I would have had the exact same experience. When your enjoyment of the film comes from how badly put together it is, that's not good, unless it's like a 1970s kung fu film. But this has got too much money and talent in it to that. So it's almost, you're watching it and it's kind of embarrassing to watch.
Is
It
like
really-
the CG any good? Like, is it even believable that they're up in the air?
There are some sequences where I thought it was an actual plane. So I don't know if they got, and I'm guessing that's where the budget came from, because you've got this like little Cessna sort of craft doing these sort of stunts. But when it's external shots, that's good. When it's internal, it's all bad. Like bad CG blood, bad everything. Everything's bad. Even the soundtrack, everything about it is bad.
So basically, the great second unit footage, everything else.
Yeah, and Michelle Dockery's accent is spot on. It's one of the best American accents from a British person I think of recently.
She's a good actress. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's weird that she's in it. I wonder if he had to like renew his DGA membership or something. He hadn't made something for.
I
so
definitely
long.
know what that is, by the way, so you don't have to explain.
The Directors Guild of America.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I knew
It
that.
may well have been
just for
something
the
like that,
listeners,
because
that was.
he wants to make the Passion too, doesn't he?
Yeah. I wonder if he just sort of like, I need to get back in the saddle before I do Passion 2. Let's just knock out some like, cheap ass thing. But yeah, very weird.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Alien Earth?
Yes, please do.
Please.
On Disney Plus. I watched the first 5 episodes, I think, and there's a new one today, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 5 hours to get a good idea of what this thing's all about. And
I'm so curious as to whether you're going to maul this or not. Anyway, go on.
So it kind of it starts off with this very Nostromo-like spaceship crash landing on Earth in the city of New Siam. That's what I wrote down. And the ship contains alien species, including our beloved xenomorph. And it crash lands in a place where there's a corporation war going on, Wayland Yutani, OBV. But most of the focus is on this company called Prodigy, which is run by this smug little genius. And he transfers the consciousness of dying children into adult bodies. And they're kind of super powered. So he sends them into the crash site anyway to gather alien samples. Timothy Olyphant plays the synthetic mentor to these kids, and he seems to be having some serious reservations about this whole enterprise. And yeah, I found, especially like those first 3 episodes, are pretty much all about, this is a long movie about this crash and retrieving these samples and stuff. And I found it a strange blend of high production values with occasionally very cheap moments, but it's really gory, so that's good. Some really gross monster designs. There's an eyeball with legs, which is pretty minging. The main girl is Carl Chandler's daughter, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to fancy her because she's embodied by like a 12-year-old child, so weird. But yeah, and that whole thing, you've seen this, haven't you, Lazlo?
Yeah, I'm up to date with you. Yeah.
So this whole conceit of having kids trapped in adults' bodies, I found was a bit aggravating at first, but then I thought actually it's quite clever in a way, because it kind of raises the stakes on the whole thing, because it gives you an instinctive reason to want them not to die, and it also allows for some pretty straightforward exposition. There's a reason for it.
I feel like it also allows them to have characters make very stupid decisions, which
is always important in horror.
It's almost like they've justified the way characters acted in Prometheus and Covenant because they're stupid kids, basically. You're like, oh, okay, well,
and actually, some of the performances are very good, especially the Indian guy. He's funny, but they genuinely seem like kids not knowing what the hell is going on and being really gullible when it comes to obviously all this, like all these corporate shenanigans.
Yeah, and it's stuff like they get left alone to like man something very dangerous, and they're super powered, so they kind of are equipped for it, but they're not mentally equipped, so they just sort of end up like kicking bits of dirt around the room because they're just bored and stuff. It's like, it's quite funny,
bizarre. Yeah, the clash of corporations is quite intriguing so far. The fact that the ship that crash lands belongs to one corporation, it crashes into a building owned by another corporation. And you've got this idea of a corporation like unilaterally choosing to send its own rescue crew in isn't too far-fetched when you think about our Lord and Savior Elon Musk going on rescuing the crew from the ISS. Yeah. And the production design is very much of the original movie, I guess, more than anything. And it's quite, it does adhere quite slavishly to it. But there's some quite cool ideas in it. I like the massacre at the 18th century party. That was fun.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It manages to come up with some nice sort of visuals that you feel like, okay, I haven't quite seen that in any of the previous Aliens before.
Yes.
Thing,
yeah.
Which is nice.
This
is finding new space.
I found in the first 3 episodes, which are, like I say, is quite heavily set around this crash site and the stuff going on there. There's a slightly strange temporal pacing thing going on because you've got this really intense suspense-filled rescue mission happening, and it keeps cutting away to conversations in a lab about the nature of human existence. And but it doesn't just cut away. It has these weird, slow, languid fades into the other scene, which I found a bit odd. So on one hand, you have something very immediate and visceral, and then something very reflective and cerebral. So it's a bit all over the shop, that part. And then episode 4 was my favourite one because that's where it deviates most, I found, from the kind of Alien template, because it's all kind of psychological intrigue, and that was pretty creepy and strange, actually. It's like this dawning realization among the scientists that this prodigy kid is completely mad, and that his experiments might just go horrendously wrong. And just the creepiness of some of the kids in the adult bodies. It seems like it could be some good, proper, slow burn horror coming up. So I like that.
What did you think of the most recent last week, where they then basically flash back to have the whole spaceship crash and play that out in full?
Well,
I was impressed with the opening where they skipped over that stuff. I was surprised by it, but I was like, oh, that's refreshing. It's like they acknowledge that we don't need to see all that because we've basically seen that story before. Alien breaks out on the ship, kills everyone, it crashes, whatever. But then they went back and played out the whole thing in full. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't.
Which
really
is doubly kind of like disappointing in a way, because it's like you say, it was good that they didn't bother showing that stuff because you don't really need to show it. And the sole survivor is kind of established over the next few episodes. But yeah, episode 5, they suddenly jump back and essentially remake Alien in an hour. And, with the same kind of dynamics, the same aesthetics. And it's like, and also a foregone conclusion as well, because we've already seen the end of this at the very start of the series. So it's like, we already know what's happening. We've already seen it before. It's like, it's quite well done, but it's redundant. It's just a kind of a null episode, really.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't help wondering whether that wasn't the original intention, and whether that should have been episode 1 or something.
Maybe because I don't know whether that would have grabbed people.
So little extra was learned from that episode, but
I'd still that hour was still vastly superior to Alien Romulus, though. So
I mean, it's that's the thing. I mean, I've read a lot of grumbles about the show. I mean, in that episode, like, I enjoyed it as I was, for the ride, and then I read something that was pointing out all the sort of flaws in, like, what was the thing? I mean, there's little things like the doctors then engaging in surgery and not wearing masks or gloves or anything. You're like, yeah, actually, hang on a minute, that's kind of stupid. And there was another big thing, and I was like, oh yeah, that is actually really stupid. Sort of a Prometheus kind of level of dumb. But you're kind of just swept along with the momentum of it all, and
Yes, I was thinking about it, and I think I don't see how anyone who loved the first 2 movies and possibly like bits of the subsequent movies wouldn't be down with this, because it is aesthetically consistent and it does have high production values.
Yeah,
and it
really
does continue the
broaden the
themes.
world.
Yeah.
Yes, like it's expanding the world of the universe of the alien world. So I don't know why you wouldn't enjoy it, even if you were going to have nitpicks.
Right, because you could just, again, it's another thing where you could just, if you don't not into the Savalas, then you can just watch the movies. But like, I think about this, and you got like Fallout, and you got Rings of Power, and it's like these are all. We should be happy that we have these long form shows that take their source material seriously and throw money at the screen. I think that's all it comes down to. Like, it's a good time for fantasy and sci-fi, and now BioShock needs to happen.
Yes, please. Yes. And there's things like I've just started back watching the season 3 of the Foundation, and again, just another massive budget sci-fi show that takes sci-fi seriously, and like, good. It's a good time for telly.
Yeah, because they haven't learned to stop throwing money at the screen.
No,
there will come.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, that was all. So Alien Earth is good.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how it ends. And
are they planning like
I don't really think it looks $1 million. Like looks better than almost anything else on TV at the moment. So
yes, it does look. Yeah, the money's up there on the screen, isn't it?
And I do love that eyeball spider.
Yeah,
disgusting.
That's probably one of the strong bits is the disgusting alien designs, because they're not just like variations on the xenomorph. They're just like, oh my god, that is a horrible idea. Like,
yeah, Brit.
Like
so the
spider, horror.
The eyeball alien is like a spider with the body of the spider is an eyeball that's gelatinous and can look with many eyes, and it sucks onto your face, sits in your eye socket, and then takes over your body.
Like a parasite.
Yeah, but it looks with you with like wonky eyes.
Yeah, so like one of your eyes is like massive. It's horrendous.
I'm going to type in.
And of course, Adrian Edmondson is in it as well. Good.
Yes.
Good. What role does he play in it?
He's like the kind of, not henchman exactly, but I guess the kind of like aid to the right hand man of the prodigy, the kid.
Yeah.
And you get the sense. My theory is that I'm not sure this prodigy kid is going to make it through the season. I think I could see him being Adrian Edmondson's character.
He's
taken over somehow. Because he's very, very wise, and not wise, but cruel as well. And
experienced and cynical, and he just talks in this calm voice about all the horrible things that they can do, and you're like, oh, okay. Not comedic, although it is darkly humorous, I guess.
Yeah.
That's me out, guys. So I don't know who else has got films left to.
Nothing.
Lazlo, it's time to shine.
I've got loads. I don't know. So let's say we can pick. What do you guys want to hear about? Do you want to hear about Against All Odds?
I don't like Phil Collins' album, so I don't hear about
that. That is played. That is on the end credits of this film. It's not Jeff Goldblum. What's his name? Jeff Bridges and James Woods in this from 1984. Or do you want to hear about Street Smart, starring Christopher Reeve and Morgan Freeman playing a pimp?
No, I want to hear about the James Wood.
Morgan Freeman.
Do you want to hear about what's that? The Jeff one?
Yeah, give me some Jeff.
Yeah, let's get some Jeff.
So, Against All Odds from 1984. This was recommended to me by someone or something I read. As like a forgotten gem of the 80s, sort of, I don't know, sexy thrillers kind of thing. To be honest, it's not the hidden gem I was hoping for, but it was enjoyable enough in a kind of a sweaty noir thriller.
Well, like Body Heat sort of thing.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Exactly that. So Jeff Bridges is a pro-American footballer who suffers a career-threatening shoulder injury and is desperate for cash. So his dodgy mate, played by a very twitchy James Woods, offers him cash to track down his girlfriend who's done a runner from him to the Caribbean. So he agrees to take this as a kind of a holiday / pay packet. And then once he finds her, of course, he immediately falls in love with her, and they start a steamy affair, and then have to deal with a angry, vengeful James Woods who finds out what's going on. There's also some complicated subplots about corrupt landowners and football match rigging to spice things up. But they're all they don't really amount to much in the end. It's just kind of a Jeff Bridges and James Woods show. And Jeff Bridges, I never really thought about him as being like a handsome man, but he is handsome in this film. I don't think he's ever looked better than he does in this film. There's endless scenes of him parading around with his top off, and he's buff and tanned and blonde.
What year was it? 84, did you say?
84, yeah.
I think because I started watching Starman the other day, and he's pretty sexy in that.
Yeah. And he's very charismatic and sort of playful in this. And also Rachel Ward, I thought the name sounded familiar, but I literally don't recognize her from anything. I assume she was a model or something, but she must have been shagging the Hollywood execs behind this or something, because she literally gets top billing above both Jeff Bridges and James Woods. And I don't think she's been in anything else of note or anything before this. And she doesn't even turn up for about 40 minutes in the film. So how that happened, I have no idea.
That is weird.
But I thought she was going to be bad, but actually she kind of won me over by the end, because she does kind of get put through the mill a little bit. So she was good. The score is one of the worst I've ever heard. I think I sent you guys a clip example of this one. Unbelievable. It's just like squealing, weird synth music. It's so atonal and so, like
I don't think I got that. I don't think I got that clip. I want to hear it now, though.
I will send it to you.
Please do.
It's like they're leaning on a keyboard, and the high notes as well. So it's unbearable. But then I don't know. It adds something to the charm. I in a weird way, and it's nicely shot. There's some odd directorial flourishes. It's by Taylor Hackford, who's done a lot of thrillers and stuff in his time. He knows what he's doing.
Didn't he? Is he the Yellowstone guy?
No,
Who's that
is
Taylor Sheridan.
Taylor Sheridan. Yes.
Yeah, Taylor Hackford is married to Helen Mirren.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
why I know
he's like a journeyman director of sort of thrillers and stuff. You'll know a bunch.
The last film he did was The Comedian in 2016 with Robert De Niro.
Okay.
But yes, it's a bit too long. And there are some very ridiculous moments. Like there's a bit where one of his pals who tracks him down in this like beautiful location where they are, and just decides to try and murder him. Just I think because they needed to have an action scene in there somewhere. It doesn't make a lick of sense. The guy who's trying to murder him is his former coach. So they're just friends, American football playing friends. It's like, why is he trying to murder him? I don't understand it. But anyway, it's fine. It's fun. But it's not a gem, unfortunately. It's all right. And that was on Prime, unsurprisingly.
Carry on, Lazlo. It's all on you today.
God. Should I talk about Street Smart then? Let's get this out of the way.
Sure.
So this is a Canon film. Yay.
Good.
Starring Christopher Reeve and Morgan Freeman and Mimi Rogers. And Reeve plays a New York journalist whose career is in the doldrums, and he has one last ditch attempt to save his career by fabricating a warts and all interview with a New York pimp. And the article is a hit, and he's suddenly in demand as like the guy who sort of speaks to the low lives of the streets of New York, and he becomes a TV reporter uncovering gritty tales of crime on the streets. However, a real life pimp played by Morgan Freeman, who's accused of murder, latches onto this story and claims to be the person in the article. So then he embroils Reeve in trying to get him off the hook. And so then Reeve is faced with the dilemma of, does he fess up and admit that he faked the article and wreck his career, or does he help this murderer get off and keep his happy life of luxury? So
that sounds like an intriguing conflict.
yes, and this was a passion project for Christopher Reeve. Apparently, he spent years trying to get this off the ground. And I imagine, because it's a canon film, there's something to do with Superman 4 in his deal. I don't know whether he agreed to be in Superman 4 with them. If they made this with him, possibly. I don't know. But there's not much action in here. I was hoping it would be more of a chasey, sleazy thriller, but it's more of a drama with occasional thriller elements. But what it's kind of dated and a little bit shoddy, but what it really it has aged like a fine wine is Morgan Freeman in this film, because I don't think I've ever seen him play like a bad guy before, and he is amazing in this. And apparently he got an Oscar nomination for it. He plays, it's like initially you think he's kind of a reasonable guy, like even though he murders someone, he murders them accidentally. and you think he's kind of okay, but as the film goes on, he peels away more and more layers, and he really is like a scary murdering fucker who plays mind games with everyone, and he sort of jumps between rage and humor in an instant. And watching him intimidate Christopher Reeve is very entertaining. There's a scene where he threatens one of his girls with a pair of scissors that I literally found it hard to watch, because he's so scary and real, and she looks like she's shitting herself. It doesn't feel rehearsed. And he says lines to her like, but it's in his voice, so you're hearing like Red from Shawshank Redemption, but he's saying things like, "Oh baby, I don't know if I should slice off your nose or just cut out one of your eyes," and you're like, I don't know how to feel about this. It's very
He changed everything.
Yeah,
Morgan.
He's really, really good.
That avuncular charm is gone.
Yeah. I can see why he. I don't know this. I don't know if this put him on the map, but it's certainly a standout in an otherwise fairly average sort of film. It's okay, but the ending is quite abrupt and feels quite convenient, and it. I don't know if it's intending to be morally ambiguous, but it's sort of got a faux happy ending that doesn't really ring true. But yeah, it's only like 90 odd minutes long, and Morgan Freeman is brilliant in it, so it's worth a watch. Also, there's a Miles Davis score mixed in with like cheesy 80s synth. So it's like
excellent. It's the best of all worlds.
It is a mashup, but it's kind of fun and kitschy.
Yeah. Is this Miles Davis in the 50s and 60s, or when he completely lost his mind and everything was just completely atonal?
Well, it's in the 80s, so probably in the lost his mind phase.
Oh dear!
But it's like I don't know. I think I have to assume he partnered up with someone else, because it's like his jazz kind of trumpet over the top of really cheesy 80s synth. So
good.
Yeah, it kind of works.
Throughout that whole review, all I could hear in the background was, I assumed it was one of us like writing a book on a keyboard, but then I just looked out my window and I realised one of you has got single glazing and it's the rain on the window. It's banging it down somewhere.
Trucking it down.
So, okay, so Street Smart. So, is that a recommendation?
If you want to enjoy some sleazy, ultra sleazy Morgan Freeman chewing the scenery, yes.
Which I do. And is that on Prime?
That was on Prime, yes. I feel like I can leave these other ones. I could ramble on about Jason Statham. And I watched 2 Statham films. One good, one not good.
If it's Working Man, we've covered that already. I think, again, it's one of those films that I don't actually remember even It could have been one of those films that was so boring I didn't even bring it up.
Well, I wasn't really going to bring it up, but I watched Mechanic Resurrection, which I actually enjoyed.
Is that the
Have you
one
seen
with
that one,
Ben
the sequel?
Foster? Is that?
He
Have
was
I
in
seen
The
this
Mechanic.
one?
This is Mechanic Resurrection.
Is this the one with the? Is there an action scene around like a floating pool and a skyscraper?
At the top of a skyscraper.
Yes,
Which
yes.
weirdly gets ripped off in the Amateur. There's an almost identical like swimming pool at the top of a skyscraper that he explodes and makes the guy fall to his death.
Have you seen the original Mechanic with Charles Bronson?
No, not the original one.
From my and this may be me misremembering, but the original Mechanic is just Charles Bronson being aloof, and he just basically him frowning at various people throughout the whole film. And then I watched the remake, and I thought, no one can kind of do Charles Bronson.
No.
That he because he was such a bizarre screen presence, and in some films it doesn't work, and in some it does, and he's so detached in that film that I can't. I love Ben Foster, but yeah, I did prefer the original in that
no
particular
one
instance.
folds their face in the way that Charles Bronson can.
He just, my mum is a huge Charles Bronson fan. I remember having a conversation with him and watching like a film of VHS when I was a kid, and she put it on, and it was just him, and he's really ripped, but again, just looks like the back of my knee, and she's like, oh, he was 22 there, and I looked at him and thought, 22 what? Because he's not years old.
A day.
122.
He's always just. There's so many films in the 70s where it's just him like crouching in like really sandy bushes, putting sniper rifles together. He just fucking hell.
Did your mum like fancy him then?
I think she thought he was like a real man's man. If you know what I mean, like he was just that. Yeah, I think she's attracted to that the strong silent type, and this no one's stronger and silent than Charles Bronson in the 70s. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, I do like watching his films, although some are boring. There's that one where I think it's called like Cathy Island or something, and it starts off. I can't remember which film it is, and it's just him driving around these really windy Italian streets, being chased by mobsters in this like little sort of 50s car, and it's this really weird scene. And they're driving around, and he's just driving, and it's a really intense chase sequence. And all he keeps on doing is like looking at her, and she's looking at him, and they don't speak, and then.
I've seen this.
Yeah, and she gets killed, and his facial expression does not change. Like whether he's in a car chase, making love, or avenging her, he's just like this like blank face, but not like a tedious blank face like what's his name, Ryan Gosling in Drive. Just you think, what does he think? What's happening? What is he thinking? Why is he doing this?
He's just sort of constantly, from my memory of it, he's just constantly squinting because it's so sunny. Yeah. He's just. It's a perma squint. You can't even see the eyes in his head.
Yeah. And his hair always just looks like he's just dashed off in the middle of a haircut. It's fantastic. Yeah, I should watch more Charles Bronson films. So, are we bringing this episode to a close and we're going to move on to the ArkinZ'Dar?
I think we can. And
yeah,
I think we may get a few of the same here. But I thought so, because even I found this one easy.
Yeah,
and you're thick as shit, aren't you, mate?
Exactly.
So, by the way, a little entrance. Last week, ArkinZ'Dar was Burt Reynolds to Catherine O'Hara, and there was one I didn't read out last week, so apologies to Max. He said Burt Reynolds is in Boogie Nights with Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's in The Talented Mr. Ripley with Jude Law, who's in Lemony Snicket, possibly my favourite Jim Carrey film with Catherine O'Hara.
Shut up.
I've never seen Lemony Snicket. I assume that's a film I'll watch with my son, because isn't it a kiddie one, like The Grinch or something?
Quite kiddie, but quite dark as well. It is a good movie.
There's no way that Max prefers that over like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Or me, myself, and Irene.
And he does get to play multiple characters in it, so it's always good value.
It's true.
Yeah, there's no way that's my Dumb and Dumber. Favorite Jim Carrey film. Oof. We'll have to.
Not bad.
When he dies, we'll have to talk about it, won't we? That's how we roll.
Until then, we won't say another word.
We hide in the shadows until they're gone, and then we come out. We look at the corpses with wide eyes. Yeah, I wasn't invited back to that funeral. Weirdly, yeah. What was I going to say then? There was no. It's too long-winded an anecdote. I can't be bothered. So yeah, the ArkinZ'Dar for the last episode was. Patrick Swayze to Mel Gibson. And we had a joint ArkinZ'Dar from Lee, Ben, and Max. They have a two-stepper, which even they
took three of them to work this out. Okay,
which presumably many people will get, which is. Actually, I'll let you two do yours first.
Okay. Paddy, Boosie, Mel, via Point Break and Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, same.
You might have to break that down a bit more.
Patrick Swayze was in Point Break with Gary Busey, who's in Lethal Weapon with Mel Gibson.
Yes, that's very similar to a lot of the entries I have, which is Lee, Ben, and Max have a two-step, which presumably many people will get. Swayze was in Point Break with Gary Busey, who was in Lethal Weapon with Mel Gibson. Ed Wellband said Patrick Swayze was in Point Break with Gary Busey, who was in Lethal Weapon with Mel Gibson, awesome front lawn end fight scene, which is true. I think I told this relatively recently, but the scene where Gary Busey gets shot with a shotgun in Point Break is the last time I stood up and shouted no at my TV screen. Because I was really enjoying him in it, and I didn't know he died. Because I didn't see Point Break till I was in my early 30s, so that was a real treat. Dave Chod, a regular winner of these things, says, I was going with Patrick Swayze, who was in Roadhouse with Sam Elliott, who was in We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson.
Oh,
so that's a nice one.
I think he wins for a different route.
Yeah, so Dave Chod, Judd Kiepski, high five for that, because it's a different route. I was kind of hoping for someone to mention Tiger Warsaw, but no one did, not even Patrick Swayze's agent. And also, sorry, Utah Smith has sent me the usual irritating starred message instead of actual text, which I can read. I put my phone on fucking airplane mode like an asshole. There we go. Hang on. Where is he? There's Utah. So yeah, this is his rambling entry. I'm not even sure if it's valid or not. I'll just press play.
Patrick Swayze is in 212, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, with Wesley Snipes, who is in one of the Expendables, with Mel Gibson. I think he's in the one. I think they overlap, those two. If not, then add another Expendables film in, because he's in one of them. I think he's in the same one.
Classic stuff. Classic.
Specific.
It really nails down the actors in the films. Oh, Bob's electricity bills in a film with Gassy Ted, Blunk,
Electric Bill.
But more interestingly, so yeah, Dave Chod wins this one, but interestingly, Lee suggested an idea for a Super Mega Turbo Ultra ArkinZ'Dar, unbonded. A link through all of the actors that have played James Bond without using Bond films. And then, as an addendum, he's written, except Lazenby.
I was going to say.
Fuck him. Fuck him. So I guess, yes, which makes more sense. So, yeah, that would be... And I just wanted to get this down, because I'm going to try and do this one, because it seems like a fun one. It's a really good idea. So, help me, guys, because it was Sean Connery, wasn't it?
Yes.
You can hear me type in, sorry. Sean Connery, then Roger Moore.
Yeah.
Then Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, if we're skipping Lazenby.
Yeah. Then Brosnan.
Bros.
No, he can do accents because... Oh, but then he was doing an American accent. No, a British accent in that. Was he doing a British accent?
It should be a British accent. Yeah, he's playing James Bond.
Yeah, I was just thinking, because that is... Yeah, it's just weird. Looks
Irish,
great.
isn't he?
Yeah, he's an Irish guy. If you watch Thursday Night Murder Club for some reason, if you're a woman in your late 70s, then maybe you'll just think, where are you from? It's not Norwich.
Christian Bale's another one whose accent is from everywhere at once.
But when you hear him in interviews, though, it's pretty straight. But then in films, it gets wobbly. I find, because I've watched interviews with him. He's also got a bit of a growth on his eye, which I hope he keeps an eye on, because that popped up over the last few years, and I hope it's all right. Pierce Brosnan, and then it was it Is it
Daniel Craig.
It really is it? Wow, bloody hell! I felt like I was missing one. So yeah, the Ultra Mega Turbo Super Uber ArkinZ'Dar is Sean Connery to Roger Moore to Timothy Dalton to Pierce Brosnan to Daniel Craig, which I'm going to do. I'm going to take a picture of that on my phone right now. That's going to be a fun one. That is, especially if someone mentions The Quest from 1996 with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Roger Moore. Bloody hell! Bloody hell! It's basically Mortal Kombat. But with me shouting "Wow" slightly louder in the distance. But the actual ArkinZ'Dar.
Oh god, we're doing
another one
legit one as well.
God,
We've got to do a legit one from this podcast.
yeah, okay.
Charles Bronson.
Brian Cox to Charles Bronson. There you go.
Brian Cox to Charles. Oh, bloody lovely. Okay.
Well, this one was too easy. This one, so let's
nice.
go with it.
Brian Cox to Charles Bronson. That's a saucy one. That is. Okay.
And this is Charles Bronson. I've only seen like 3 or so Charles Bronson films ever.
Honestly, most of them are on Prime. And this is Brian Cox, the keyboardist from D-Ream as well, to make it a bit harder. Not the Scottish actor who's amazing. That's a duck, not a dick. And that was the golden line, wasn't it? Was it The Long Good Friday? Or The Long Kiss Goodnight? Which one was it with Gina Davis?
Oh, Long Kiss Goodnight.
Long Kiss Goodnight. I do like that film. I'll have to watch that again.
Film that's got some good lines. Again, not available on any streaming services.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is why people have heroic DVD collections, isn't it?
Oh, I found Drive on YouTube. I'm going to watch that with the Dacascos Drive.
Oh, really? Mark Dacascos and Kadeem Hardison. Yeah, that's one of my
copy of it on YouTube.
That's one of my favorite action films. Honestly, really, genuinely love it. So let me know. Can you? Yeah, I'd be really intrigued to you cover that in the next episode if you do fancy it.
Alrighty.
And that, guys, brings us to the close of the show. And I think this is the time where, as regular listeners will be aware, this is how we always end the show. Everyone closes their eyes, and you think back to when you were a child, to when you were most embarrassed and upset about something that happened to you. So, Lazlo, if you want to go first.
Oh, God.